What's up, guys? Hey, how we doing? So, wow, Washougal, what an event. I'll tell you what, guys, we have some bona fide superstars in this sport, guys that can really elevate the entertainment value between Jett Lawrence and his greatness, because that's what it was. The fact that he handled those guys on a track. Keep in mind, he never won a moto at Washougal prior to yesterday, yet he's still undefeated. This dude's got 400 points in the Outdoor Nationals already. He's looking to clinch next week at Unadilla. All he's got to do is score like 5 or 6 more points than Dylan Ferrandis, and he's your new champion. It's unbelievable. And Haiden Deegan, wow. If you were doubtful or thought that he was just a flash and then he'd be like a regular rookie, you were wrong. And obviously I was wrong about him a lot, but that's in the past. This kid is something special. And he even talked some garbage on the podium. And guess what? I loved it. So, all right, guys, remember, subscribe. It helps the algorithm. It helps me keep putting out these videos and just kind of boost the channel. So I appreciate it. If you want to subscribe, go for it. I want to thank Complete Med Solutions. Yes, Coach Rob and Complete Med Solutions. They draw your blood. If you're not feeling well or you just need a boost or you want a specific program, hit up Complete Med Solutions and they will physiologically dial you in a program. Strapped, ridestrapped.com. Yes, the goggle company that is just taking it by storm. The Let's Go Brandon goggles, the We the People goggles, killing it. So support Strapped, go to ridestrapped.com. Epic Garage Designs, you guys know Epic. Epic has this badass studio. Anything you need for your garage, slat wall, flooring, you name it, they have it. And if you're in the Las Vegas area, Epic blinds and shutters, get some window coverings. And the CF7. Guys, if you just want to be cool, wear some CF7. There's not many brands that are cooler than that. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not very cool. So I'm stoked that they decided to partner with me. Yeah, check out CF7.com. And the discount code Brody for 20% off.
You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
So many different angles from Washougal to cover, from two strokes to the 450s to Jett being perfect. But I'll tell you what my number one storyline is. Haiden, Danger Boy, Deegan. I'm feeling dangerous, man. That was a ride that put an emphasis, and this track really suited his style. Those ruts at Washougal, you can trust those. And the way he's able to hook ruts and just get around, I mean, he was feeling it. And what's even better is when he gets on the podium, said he was riding like a baby. The fact that he comes across as authentic, love him or hate him, it's so good for the sport. I can't express how as long as he sparks an emotion, like in pro wrestling, you're a star if people love you or hate you. It doesn't matter which one. It does not matter if they love you or hate you. If they're emotionally invested in you, you're a star. Haiden Deegan he's a star, man, and he can ride. And I love what he said. He really took a shot at Hunter. I mean, not in like if it was the real world or any other sport, it wouldn't be that big a deal. But since our sport is so closed about this type of stuff and like they look down on it like, oh, how dare you say something that could be possibly construed as negative. Well, he said, he kind of took a shot at Hunter and said, hey, you should be winning and I'm winning. And like,
oh man, I've been watching too much David Goggins and Andrew Tate. Those last few laps, I'm like, I put my heart into this thing, baby. And man, it's nerve-wracking, and I'm sure it's nerve-wracking for Hunter too. He's supposed to be winning these things, and I'm glad I could put the American up front for all the fans.
Congratulations, great job.
I loved it. I loved it. So whether you loved it or hated it, you felt strong about it. And for that reason, Haiden Deegan is a gift to this sport. I cannot emphasize how important what Haiden Deegan did yesterday was in the 250 class. Not only did he bring himself within a couple points in this championship, he showed he can beat Hunter straight up. You can make excuses for Hunter. You can say his rib and he got a bad start, blah, 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 blah. No matter. Deegan beat him straight up. In that second moto, he was right on Deegan. So if you pause it right there and then look at how they finished, Deegan's the man. Like, he absolutely handled Hunter yesterday. Deegan looked like the generational talent that he is. The way he rides those ruts, the way he can just get in there and he struggles with tracks where when you hit the rut too hard, it blows out. But when you get a track like Washougal, where those ruts hold, man, this kid can ride. Unadilla coming up next. Is he going to, I don't know if he can beat Hunter at that track. Hunter is so strong at Unadilla. It has kind of that European feel to it. I don't know if he's got anything for Hunter there, but he's already established himself. It's on. And the mind games. Colin saying he was riding like a baby and that he's got it together. I love it, man. I love it. I absolutely love it. If you don't, ask yourself why. Justin Cooper. Man, I felt bad for this guy. Rode his ass off, but he just tuckered out in that second moto, and Haiden ate his lunch. That has got to be demoralizing. Like, what do? You're supposed to be the A guy on the team. You're supposed to be the veteran who's finally going to get the championship that's eluded him. And he's been close to this championship. Remember Washougal a couple of years ago? He's about to go 1-1. He has that crash going up Horsepower Hill. He would have had a pretty good point lead on Jett Lawrence at that time, and he's just been chasing it ever since. It's almost like the one that got away, and he just can't quite get it back. He's still not out of this. Don't get me wrong. 2 weeks off will definitely help Justin Cooper as far as recovering. He's had some nasty injuries. That throat injury earlier in the year was bad, and he just powered right through it. I mean, the dude's an absolute savage, but he's got a savage right next to him in that truck who's not scared to do whatever it takes. I mean, Haiden Deegan, so that type of personality, what Haiden Deegan is doing, that just screw everybody, I'm going to win attitude, is perfect for racing. Not so much in regular life, but you find some athletes can turn it on and turn it off. I don't know if he's one of those yet. He might be when his career is said and done, he might end up like Carmichael and just be a dick. But he might be like James Stewart, where he can turn it off. There's a guy in the UFC, Michael Bisping. He was one of the most hated guys ever. I mean, he was a perfect heel. He'll even go back and say that. That's just how he was. That's the mentality. That's the dog he needed to do his job. He ended up winning the title. Now he's done with it, and he's just like, you listen to his podcast, it's almost like a different person. He was able to turn it off. So while it's not a real likable characteristic in a person in real life, that dog, that attitude, absolutely necessary for racing. Haiden Deegan's got it. And I'll tell you what, these other guys are in trouble. We got ourselves a battle. It's entertaining. Kid is so good for the sport. RJ Hampshire, I feel bad for RJ. RJ is on a bike. Say what you want. Those Austrian bikes, the Gas, the Husqvarna, the KTMs, they are not up to par. They're not at the level of the other bikes, and it shows. When you get to tracks like this, they just can't. I mean, even Hunter's bike might not be nearly what those star bikes are, but he is so good. He was charging down those hills. Like, the way he was going down those hills was just a work of art. You watch Deegan go down those, and he's bouncing left to right. I mean, there's two ways to do the exact same thing, but Hunter was just bombing down those hills. And the way Hunter's racecraft is so good. So don't think that Haiden's going to just take over. I'm just excited that we have somebody who's willing to step up and battle him. But that Honda didn't pull with those star bikes up those hills, and you could see it. Now, you want to call it traction, whatever you want to call it. Those star bikes worked so much better going up and down those hills than the Honda. And Hunter, with his ability, he hung in there. And like I said, he's still the point leader. It's still his championship to lose. We got ourselves a battle. Levi Kitchen is, man, he's good. He's fun to watch. He said he doesn't ride this track very well. And I think they mentioned on the broadcast like 100 times. He can ride his bike from his parents' house to Washougal. So it is very strange that he's not fast at a track that you grew up riding. But I would actually agree with that. For whatever reason, his style doesn't work as well at Washougal, but he still looked really good. And it's going to be really interesting to see how he does next year on the Pro Circuit Kawasaki. And will it come into play towards the end where he has to help Haiden? And when he's already going to a different team, is he going to want to help Haiden? I mean, I don't know. He seems like a pretty good guy and a team player. But when you're a lame duck and you've already signed a contract to leave, are you that apt to pull over and let Haiden get points? I don't know. Well, it's going to be something to watch moving forward. But shout out to Austin Faulkner. That nasty, nasty crash in the first turn ripped his side up. He easily could have parked it. Nobody would have said a word. Instead, he fought his ass off, got up to 24th or 21st, missed a point. That's demoralizing, but that's what he needs right now, is to build that base, that non-quitting, that fighting hard. I think working with Ryan Hughes, who he's working with now, is going to be a big benefit to him. Watch Faulkner. I think you're going to see a career resurgence coming up either at Supermoto or next year. So, all right, guys, let's get into the 450 class. This was the round where I thought Chase Sexton would get a moto. I think Chase thought this is the round where he'd get a moto. You could hear in his interview after that first moto where he's like, the track's not even the same as it used to be.
By the time that happened, Jett was gone, and I couldn't really close the gap. So looking forward to their second moto. This track is interesting. It's a lot different than it was last year with the sand they added. So it's a little bit of a different animal, and something we have to adjust to. So looking forward to the second moto.
He's frustrated, and if you don't think he's given everything he has, you're wrong. I mean, he's tucking the front. He is riding his ass off. Is he at the level he was last year? Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to tell because Jett is a wizard on that bike. Whatever reason, the 450 suits him 100 times better than the 250, and he won on the 250. He is tailor-made in his style and his talent and his reflexes. The way they had that gate flinch, and he didn't mess up at all. He's almost not human. It's crazy. It's crazy how dialed in he is. And like his brother Hunter, they might come across as aloof and kind of goofy off the track, but on the track, their racing IQ is higher, much higher than anybody else in the series right now. These two are thinking about passes way ahead of time. They're thinking about lines. They're both guys that explore. They're using racecraft to slow, or not necessarily slow, but control their breathing, make a run. I mean, I think even James Stewart's like, dang, that's like next level racecraft. I don't think James Stewart or Ricky had the same racecraft that Jett does. Not to say they didn't win in their own ways. There's a million different ways to do things, but his racecraft is something. Listen, I've been watching this sport for a long time, and I've never seen racecraft like this. To be able to think in the moment and calculate those things on the fly, and then have the skill to make those adjustments, I'm sorry, I'm just mind blown. He's got these guys to the point where they're seeing it as a success if they just lead, if they can just get out in front of him. That's like a moral victory. You saw AP, and Plessinger, that was good for him because he's had some rough times, but he got third in the second moto, but he went out there and just emptied the tank and he's like, I just want to lead some laps and see what I can do. And, you know, if he was looking to finish the whole moto out, he probably wouldn't go that hard that early. But that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to rebuild himself. Dylan Ferrandis, the same thing. It's crazy to think guys that have won in this series, past champions, are doing things that rookies do to try to build confidence in order to compete with this rookie. This rookie has come in here. I'm sorry, he's going to go undefeated. Unless something stupid happens, a bike failure, it's going to take a catastrophic failure, probably not of Jett's doing, to cause him to not have a perfect season. And I'll tell you what, these 450 guys they're probably panicking like, what do we do? This kid's making us look silly, but I don't know that there's anyone on earth right now, even MXGP riders outdoors, that could do anything with Jett Lawrence. His racecraft is above anyone. But yeah, Chase he's gonna push it. And like I said, if anyone's gonna get a moto, it's probably gonna be Chase. Or at Unadilla, Ken Roxon's coming back. So we'll see about that. It's not over till it's over. And then Ty Masterpool, I am so tired of hearing. I love James. James is awesome. I'm not critiquing James in the booth. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure to listen to him for 4 hours. But drop this whole advantage to having a stock bike. It's not an advantage. It might not be much of a disadvantage because the bikes are so good right now, but it is not an advantage. There's no way you can spin privateer bikes. Stock bikes are an advantage. If it's slower and gets more traction, well, guess what? The factories, they have a lot of different ECUs. They could quickly change that. They can easily put a stock one on there. They can make those changes. So it's not an advantage. It might not be as much of a disadvantage at some tracks, but it's not an advantage. But good on Ty Masterpool. I hope someone gives him a ride. His style suits a 450 really well, and I think he could be a contender. Speaking of guys with really good style, Carson Brown. Yes, Carson Brown on the two-stroke challenge. I wish they would have given it a little bit more airtime or kind of focused a little bit more on these guys battling for that. Anthony Rodriguez came out on a two-stroke and pushed Carson for everything he was worth and almost got him. He was really close. He beat him in the second moto by 1 spot, but it wasn't enough for the overall. So Carson Brown, he is your two-stroke king on a Yamaha. Good on him. If I had a team, I would literally fly out to wherever he lives and see, Carson, what is it going to take to get you on my team? I'm going to sign you to a 3-year deal. No pressure. You go out there and help us develop our bikes for one, because the way he rides so many different bikes, He clearly has a handle on how to set things up. One, he's going to be a huge asset there, and I think he could easily be a podium guy in either 450 or 250 class. He's that good. He's that smart. Question is, does he really want to? I don't know. I've reached out to him and he hasn't got back to me. I just saw he did a Gypsy Tales with Jace. I'm sure it's really good. I got to watch that. I haven't got around to it yet, but maybe he explains it in there. So anyway, guys, thanks for everything. I appreciate all the support for the Cooksey Mob, and I will catch you guys later.